tell the color of his eyes, but guessed they were more light than dark. Young, probably barely past 20. In a few years he might be handsome, once he grew into that jawline and learned to smile a little. But right now, except for the Ranger star pinned to his shirt, he looked like any other big, raw-boned farm boy who had yet to flesh out. Ignoring Becky, he swung his gaze over the other onlookers, then up to the false fronts rising above the overhang along the boardwalk. Looking for what? Lottie studied the slumped back of the manacled rider as the troop rode past the telegraph office and on toward the depot where Sheriff Dodson waited on the platform.
Wonder what he did. The prisoner? Becky shrugged. Something bad if they sent the Frontier Battalion after him. Probably taking him somewhere to stand trial.
Outside the depot, the Rangers dismounted. The leader went inside with the sheriff. One Ranger positioned himself by the water tower. One stayed with the prisoner, and the young drag rider walked back down the street, his head swiveling as he scanned the buildings they'd just ridden past. Did he expect ambushers? Here in sleepy little Greenbrook? In the distance, a train whistle blew.
Lordy, is that the 10:10 already?
Becky tucked the bank bag under her arm.
Better get back before the crab pinches me. Meet for dinner? Mr. Brackett asked me to look over the week's receipts.
Becky gave her a sour look.
It's your own fault. You shouldn't have told him you could tally. I'm not complaining. I like it. Working sums is relaxing. Numbers are so predictable.
It seemed all her life Lottie had worried where her next meal was coming from. She was tired of it. She wanted more than a hard Scrabble life sweeping boardwalks and emptying potato sacks and listening to mice scurry in the night. She had ambitions and a strong conviction that a better future awaited her if she only knew how to get to it. The locomotive pulled into view, slowing to a crawl as it neared the water tower. Sooty smoke billowed out of the stack. Brakes squealed. Once the train came to a full stop, the conductor stepped off. Only a few passengers followed after him, crossing from the train into the station. It wouldn't be a busy shopping day in Greenbrook. Becky's voice took on a wheedling tone.
Any chance you could sneak me a can of beans, then? Sneak? You mean steal?
Lottie frowned.
Becky, I dare not. The Bracketts treat me good. I don't want to steal from them. You did before. Once. I hadn't eaten in 2 days, and they hadn't paid me yet.
Honesty lost much of its appeal when survival was at stake.
And anyway, I put money in the till after they paid me. But I already ran through last week's pay, and there's barely enough leftovers to feed Mrs. Ledbetter.
Mrs. Ledbetter was the elderly lady Becky watched over. In exchange for room and board, Becky cooked and did light housekeeping. A good arrangement for both.
You should be more careful with your money.
Lottie regretted the words as soon as she said them. Becky was her friend. She didn't want to run her off, but she owed the Bracketts too. At Becky's pleading look, Lottie sighed. She hated begging almost as much as stealing, but she didn't want Becky to go hungry. She had suffered a hollow belly too many times herself.
The Bracketts always feed me when I work late. I'll try to save something for you. Thanks, I knew I could count on you.
Becky's grin was slightly off-kilter because of the scar at the corner of her top lip where her daddy had tried to rearrange her face with his fist before she ran off for good. It marred what would have been real beauty, although the cowboys in the saloon didn't seem to mind.
Come to the back door.
Lottie made a last swipe at a manure smear below the display window, then gave up.
I should be done by 9. I'll be there.
With a backhand wave, Becky headed down the boardwalk. Lottie started back inside, then flinched when gunshots rang out. Becky ducked into the doorway of the newspaper office next to Brackett's Market. Shouts up and down the street, heavy footfalls thudding on the boardwalk as onlookers scrambled to safety. Heart pounding, Lottie peered around the doorframe. One Ranger lay twisting on the ground by the station platform. The young drag rider was running back toward the train, gun drawn. A stranger with a kerchief over his face fired wildly as he steered the prisoner toward a masked rider holding 2 sidestepping horses. Bullets peppered the dirt by his boots, but the drag rider kept going, his dark Stetson flying off as he ran. The sheriff and older ranger ran out of the station and fired at the fleeing men. The kerchiefed man fell. More shots from the ranger by the water tower. The second masked man toppled from the saddle. Horses